Good morning, members and friends of Flint EMC. Welcome to our first ever virtual annual meeting. Like so many other events around the state and nation, COVID-19 has forced a change of plans for our 83rd gathering of Flint members and owners. Despite the challenges, our Flint team is forging ahead to conduct the official business of our electric co-op via the internet. For over 8 decades, we have shared a mission, a purpose, and values that have served as a foundation for improving the quality of life for our now over 90,000 plus services. And today we are sharing through cyberspace. I am Neil Talton, Chairman of your Board of Directors, and proud to welcome you and officially call this 2020 annual meeting to order. To start the meeting off right, I will ask David Yelton, our Ag Specialist, to come deliver the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Thank you, Mr. Talton. I appreciate the opportunity to open this 83rd meeting of Flint EMC with prayer. Would you join me as we do that? Heavenly Father, I just give thanks to you for this beautiful day you've given us. Thank you, God, for your love for us that you show to us each and every day. Thank you, God, for the privilege of prayer to come before you this morning to open this meeting in this way. Father, I just thank you today for the freedom that we enjoy in this, the greatest country on this earth. Thank you, God, for blessing our nation in so many ways. Father, as we approach this election season, I just pray, Father, for wisdom as voters go to the polls, that the right candidates would be elected, both locally and statewide and on the national level. Father, may the right ones be elected to lead our nation in a positive way. Father, as has been mentioned, this is a different time for all of us with this virus pandemic. Lord, we acknowledge that this hasn't caught you by surprise. And I just thank you that you are Almighty God and in control of everything that happens, including this virus. And Father, I just seek you and ask you to bless those that are seeking for a cure for this and for a vaccine. Just pray, Father, for your wisdom to be with those that are in positions of leadership regarding this virus. Father, be with all those who have been affected by it health-wise and maybe have lost loved ones. Pray for your comfort for these. Father, I just thank you for this cooperative that's served this area with electricity for 83 years now. I just pray for its leadership, for the management as decisions are made from here forward. I just pray that you would give them wisdom to lead this cooperative in the right way as we go forward. Father, again, we just thank you for all your many blessings, especially, Father, just thank you for the gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, because it's through him that we can have eternal salvation through our personal faith in him. And I make this prayer this morning in his name. Amen. Would you join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Now it's my honor to have Chair of the Flint Foundation, Ms. Kathy Waits of Fort Valley, to come give the update of activities Operation Roundup.
Thank you, Mr. Talton. It is so good to be with you this morning to give you this report from the Flint Energies Foundation. If I were doing things as Mr. Ray says I should, he said I should start this with an emoji. And for the emoji that we would choose for this report, it would be a big old smiley face and a thumbs up. First, I would like to thank those individuals who serve as directors on our foundation board. Vice Chairman, Mrs. Joanne Hamlin from Lizella. Our Secretary is Mrs. Connie McCutcheon of Midland. Our Treasurer is Mr. John Lapino of Warner Robins. Mr. Pat Bartness from Warner Robins, Mrs. Betty Chase of Oglethorpe, Mrs. Eloise Doty of Butler, Mrs. Gina Fink of Warner Robins, Mr. Charles Harrison, Hawkinsville, Mrs. Tracy Kemp, Warner Robins, and Dr. Rudy Killingsworth from Tazewell. I hope you'll take the opportunity when you see these leaders and volunteers to thank them for their time and effort on behalf of the Flint communities. This is the group that thoroughly reviews and researches each and every grant request to be sure the funds are distributed appropriately. In keeping with the 2020 theme, the Foundation Board truly works beyond the lines. At the annual meetings, I usually like to take the opportunity to share with you the impact your small change has made in the lives of our fellow members and communities. There are untold numbers of fire departments, special needs, school groups, and other organizations that benefit from your contributions. However, for the sake of time, as we communicate through cyberspace, let me just tell you that your small monthly donations, rounding up for less than $1 a month, have totaled more than $6.5 million since 2001, and each and every dime is invested back in our communities. If you participate in Operation Roundup, thank you. Unfortunately, over the last several years, the members participating in Operation Roundup have been declining. If this trend continues, the amount we can give to a community will be decreasing as well. With literally small change, we can improve the availability of our funds and make an even bigger impact. It's so easy to do. Just call Flint, ask for a member solutions representative, and they can sign you up. Remember that unless you choose to donate more, it's less than $12 a year. It's through the generosity of the Flint Energy's board that 100% of all donations go directly to funding the needs of the service area. So thank you, Mr. Ray, Mr. Nelms, and the members of the board for making that possible. Thank you also to Susan Poole and Heather Nipper for their continued support and assistance as we seek to serve the Flint communities. Please consider becoming a part of Operation Roundup. Such a little bit makes such a big difference. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. Chairman Talton will now give you the executive report.
Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate your leadership of the Flint Foundation as well as all the hours that the directors devote to improving the quality of life for our members. Truly, a little change generates big changes through Operation Roundup. And talking about change, Lord have mercy at the changes and challenges we have seen over the last year. But it's in these times of dealing with change, preparing for change, executing plans in the midst of change, and facilitating progress through the changes are really what electric membership co-ops are all about. It requires being diligent, and it requires that the co-op work beyond the electric lines to serve you better. As an electric co-op, we are indeed built to serve beyond the lines. We are built to serve our members, our communities, and this state. And in that effort, we work tirelessly to provide safe, reliable, and affordable energy services. For 83 years, a firm foundation for successful service has been constructed with positive spirit, deep experience, and genuine concern from our Flint family leaders and employees. Every day, Flint Energy's trucks drive up, down, over, and off roads that connect our communities in the 7,000 miles of power lines to reach into your homes. You might even recognize some of these folks because they're your neighbors, friends, and family. We believe in going the extra mile because our service to you is not just electric power, it's also very personal. Our employees take pride in Flint's mission to exceed your expectations at every opportunity because we're locally owned by you, our members, and that really means something. Flint serves more than 71,000 members who live along these lines. While a lot of time and energy goes into maintaining power lines, Flint's goal is to always do more. More for our communities, more for our members, and more for the businesses that provide valuable service for everyone in our territory. From the Okmulgee through the Flint and into the Chattahoochee Rivers, our electric co-op lines reach out to connect members, communities, and partners to a better quality of life. Beyond the lines that power families and industries, our 234 professionals are doing more to empower progress and opportunity and to generate young leaders and enduring impacts. We are proud to be your power provider, and we're excited about the opportunities to extend our reach to stimulate and advocate progress. We look forward to serving you out there beyond the lines. Thank you for being part of this organization that is built to serve and that has served successfully for 83 years. Now I'll ask retiring CEO Bob Ray, as well as our incoming CEO Jeremy Nelms, come forward and to offer their report. But before I close, I'd just like to thank Bob for his 16 years of leadership, and it's with his leadership and our employees that we're one of the most respected co-ops, not just in the state, but in this nation. And Jeremy, we expect a lot out of you. So thank y'all, and Bob and Jeremy will come up now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here today. It's a great honor to be serving. I have served as CEO of this organization for a long period of time, for the last 17 years. Welcome and good morning to our members. It's a pleasure to be with you on this alternative format that was forced by the pandemic, but it's a great opportunity, great day to be together. And my last opportunity for the 17th time to say the power's on, and it's a great day at the REA. You know, this past year, it's been crazy. It's been a challenge at every regard for every person across the world. It's really, in many ways, has been an embodiment of what Flint has been all about. And I want to just share some of those with you, some of the challenges and the opportunities, solutions, and successes that this Flint family and this Flint organization has had over the past year as we faced the pandemic and looked at overcoming the obstacles to serve members and improve the quality of life for our Flint members. Back in November, in fact, about November of every year, the senior management gets together and we come up with a theme for the following year to kind of encapsulate what we want the year to be about, of talking about how we are to serve and the things and the goals and objectives we go after. Last November, we picked a theme of Beyond the Lines, to talk about the things we do that go beyond the electric lines and go beyond just serving electric power and accepting your bill payments, of how we impact lives and how we impact communities. That theme, as the chairman has mentioned, was Beyond the Lines for 2020. Like the whole world, no one knew how far beyond the lines we were going to have to go this year to serve you and to impact the quality of life in positive ways. That's happened first in the Flint board and their leadership and making strategic decisions based on and built on the foundation of the past, but also reaching forward to plan for the future. And secondly, this Flint family of 234 employees, reaching out with creativity, ingenuity, and just like the board, with a servant's heart to serve our fellow man in the best way possible. So this theme of Beyond the Lines became our marching orders, and we're going great at it and reaching goals and setting down new initiatives as we reached into March, and then the pandemic hit. And then we started realizing we can't follow our normal plan. It kind of reminded me of reaching back to my first days on the job when I had a chance to work with linemen. We had one particular lineman named Wayne Chapman that was a former Marine, and we talked about, Wayne, you know, how do you approach this job or building lines? And he said, you know, every job, every day is a new opportunity, and it's about improvising and overcoming to do the best job we can every single day. And that's exactly what our Flint family, our Flint board has done to improvise, overcome, and reach beyond the lines to serve you better. But you look across this co-op, and there's the successes and the ingenuity, and again, the servant's attitude to do what's best for our members and to serve you in the best way possible. If you look at our linemen and system operations and staking, they have never slowed down despite this pandemic. We have residential construction going like crazy, and our linemen and staking techs and system operations have not slowed down one bit to continue to get those services, to get new houses powered, and to bring development and growth to the communities. Also, back in Easter, on Easter Sunday, 24 days into this pandemic, when the rules of this virus and how we deal with it were not quite defined, we had a storm. Over 10,000 of you were out of power, and you know, how are we going to react to this and how we're going to deal with it? Well, forged ahead. Within 24 hours, all 10,000 members were restored. Absolutely amazing success. If you look at our accounting and member solutions department, they've also brought their ingenuity and the resources available and reached out with compassion, actually created a program called the CARE program, which was the COVID Arrangement and Relief Extension Program to help those of you as members that have past due bills to have an extended period to repay those bills over time. Also, accelerated load management credits. We typically do that in September, October. Did that earlier in the year to help reduce electric bills. Also reached out and distributed what I believe is the largest patronage capital retirement in the history of Flint, $4.99 million for those of us members that were on the lines in 1996 through 1999. You also look to our technology and our communication team. Literally overnight, 117 employees were suddenly working at home and being able to serve you, hopefully seamlessly, and certainly something we had prepared for in the past, but never knew our capacity until this pandemic hit, and it worked exceedingly well. Our technology team has also built the platforms to be able to facilitate payments and to do business electronically without having to come into the office. And today, more than 86% of payments are taken by some form of technology. We look at our engineers and our apparatus team also dealing with the challenges and the uncertainties of this year, but also forging ahead to install new technology into our system, something called distribution automation that identifies an outage and automatically restores power to those that it can be restored to, while helping us identify and get to the outage quicker. Already seeing the benefit of this system, which will be fully installed and deployed by the end of next year. This engineering and apparatus team have also been at work at Fort Benning, putting in place over the last year one of the first resiliency programs for a military installation in the nation. This system automatically switches and turns on generation, not only to ensure that our military forces are ready no matter what, but also helping the government to save money in their power bills. Our facilities team has been phenomenal in responding to even the threat of the virus outbreaking, while also maintaining our buildings and keeping them looking extremely well. Throughout this organization, the Flint fleet has always been ready to go despite the challenges the pandemic has placed. Materials have been in place, and we've been able to supply the new construction and continue to maintain the system to keep your power reliable and affordable. Our safety coordinators have continued to reach out and remind us that safety is indeed number one for what we do. Our human resources team has kept pace with the new laws and regulations as it relates to our employees, who not only keep their full-time job and many working remotely, but also to teach their kids and care for their families, as many of you have faced over this uncertain time, and staying out of the public and reaching out to keep things moving forward. Also, our communicators and our community development and community connections team and agricultural specialists have had to devise new ways. I mean, being engaged with you in our communities and communicating with you is their lifeblood. They've had to overcome these new challenges and have done amazing things. There has not been any event that has not been reported around the clock to you to let you know what was going on and what to expect, and the care payment program was coming, and how we were responding to this pandemic, again, to improve your quality of life and to serve you better. We've been very active, as much as we could be, in the communities with school drives to get kids ready for the school year. Masks, our employees have made masks and distributed those to folks in need. We've provided meals to health professionals and first responders as they are on the front lines of dealing with the pandemic. Also, our Firestarter Fab Lab is literally, through the work of volunteers, provide tens of thousands of personal protection equipment, PPE, to hospitals when they couldn't get supplies, as well as the school system to prepare for the new year. We've seen members of the Flint family reach out and say to our communities, what do you need in order for us to help you through this, to improve your quality of life and to keep things moving forward? And I'll cite two, can't start naming names because it would be endless, but Susan Poole in our executive services department and Todd Bigler in our technology department reached out to schools and found out that many of our rural school systems did not have the capacity to teach remotely. At least our students did. So in conjunction with the Flint Foundation, who overnight provided $90,000, over 200 Chromebooks were provided to rural school systems to be able to help their kids with this remote learning. Absolutely phenomenal efforts that truly embody what this organization is all about. It's not just about providing electricity and keeping the power flowing. It's reaching beyond the lines to serve you better and improve your quality of life. It's a servant's heart, and that comes from our board in so many ways as they lead by example. We have been, as employees, supported and encouraged, and again, seeing the examples of our board members as they do what's best, or give us the marching orders for how we serve, or giving us resources to be able to serve you better, but also to lead the strategic plans for the future. We have now grown to be over 90,000 consumers, and another milestone in the history of Flint to reach out in a large way as our communities continue to grow. The board makes a decision every month and have aggressively managed our power supply and power supply cost. Over the course of this year, you have seen credits on your bills that have totaled over $7.1 million in reducing the amount of your electric bill as the wholesale power cost adjustment follows the cost of our power. So you've seen the benefit of cheaper natural gas. We've also this year and back in May signed a $1.1 billion power supply contract that will ensure reliable power through the year 2034. Again, as the board reaches out, prepares for the future. We also, you'll hear in just a little bit, that this organization continues to be financially sound, and we are aggressive in managing our equity and looking out for members and making sure our mortgage covenants are met. Again, all this is a continuation of the foundation that has been built over the course of 83 years. Every day, looking to do things better and setting the stage for what's next in the future of Flint. Our goal and our mission has been to improve your quality of life. It's been that way since April of 1937, and we continue every day to say, how do we do things better? I'm so proud to have been one of the 1,393 employees, reaching back all the way to 1937, that have had the privilege to work for this organization. I want to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to be employed here, thanking them for their support and their direction and the guidance we've had in being hugely successful as a continuation of the 83 years of Flint and reaching beyond the lines to improve the quality of life. I want to thank the executive team, our senior management team, our leadership team, executive services, and all the Flint family members for being dedicated, again, with that servant's heart to reach beyond the lines to serve you in the best way possible. I want to thank all those employees that have had the perspective of improvising and overcoming, no matter the challenge, to do things better. But you know, all this is about the past. I'm yesterday. This is my last opportunity before you, and am, again, proud to have been part of the history of Flint. But as we look forward with new power supply, new opportunities that come in our communities and with you as members, we also have the opportunity to welcome a new CEO. And I'm proud to turn the leadership of this co-op over to Flint family member number 1,394, our new CEO as of October 1st, Mr. Jeremy Nouns. Invite him now to come share a little bit about himself and what he sees for the future of Flint. Again, thank you for this opportunity to be with you and to serve you over the last 17 years. And ask the good Lord to continue to bless this Flint family and the Flint organization. Thank you very much. Good morning. First, I want to extend a welcome to our board members,
our hardworking staff and employees of the Flint family, and our members who have chosen to attend virtually today to participate in Flint Energy's 83rd annual meeting. As Mr. Ray said, my name is Jeremy Nelms, and I'm honored to appear before you today as your new CEO. Although I've only been in my role for a few weeks, I can most assuredly say that I made the right decision, both professionally and personally, to carry on my career and raise my family in this beautiful part of Middle Georgia. I've heard the people in this region described as the finest kind of folks, and after meeting the staff as well as a few members and neighbors, I can certainly say that is the case. Given that I'm so very early on in my career here at Flint, I'm going to forego the traditional President's Report this morning and instead tell you a little bit about myself and what I like to see for Flint going into the future. Elizabeth, my wife of 12 years, and I have two young children, Bradley and Mara. Both she and I come from families with deep roots in the South. In fact, her parents live just to the west of us in Phoenix City, Alabama, and my extended family all reside in the LaGrange area. Elizabeth and I met while both of us were in the marching band at Auburn University. I'm an engineer by trade, having earned degrees in both electrical engineering and wireless engineering while at Auburn. Upon graduation, I took a position with Talcon Electric Cooperative in Tallahassee, Florida, where I began work as an entry-level engineer, designing new line extensions and performing power system analysis. While at Talcon, I was afforded many opportunities to develop a skill set and begin along a path of leadership to where I am today. It was also during this time in my career that I earned an MBA from Florida State University, as well as a professional engineering license from the state of Florida. These opportunities prepared me to take on the role of Director of Engineering and Operations during my last 2 years on staff there at Talcon. And over the past 4 years, I have served in the role of Executive Vice President and General Manager at Blue Ridge Mountain EMC in Young Harris, Georgia. While in the top spot at Blue Ridge, I became very familiar with all aspects of board governance, member relations, and the inner workings of electric cooperative financials. With my operational experience that has run the gamut of tropical events along the Gulf Coast, as well as ice and snow in the North Georgia mountains, our members can be assured that I'm ready and willing to rise to the occasion whenever any potential weather system impacts us. As I said earlier, I'm proud to be a part of the Flint family and a new resident of this great community. Even in the midst of the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, Flint employees stayed the course, not only by continuing to provide electricity, but also by continuing to serve our members and improving the quality of life for our communities. Flint Energies is an organization that is considered world-class in the entire electric cooperative industry. This is no small feat and can be directly attributed to the fantastic leadership of the board, Mr. Ray, and others that came before them who have led over the past 80-plus years. It is not lost on me that I have tremendous shoes to fill, and my plan is to carry on this great legacy for many years to come. As for my plans for Flint in the near term, I'm focused on getting my arms around the cooperative so that I can better understand what makes it tick. I have been focused on getting to know the employees and trying to put a face with a name, which has proven to be quite difficult considering the mask-wearing world we all find ourselves in today. Once I have a feel for the organization's strengths and this area's opportunities, we can then begin to look more closely at the ways we can add value to our community, our industry, and most importantly, you that we serve. These are exciting yet challenging times to lead an electric utility, but with the engaged staff and workforce at this organization, we will continue to be successful no matter the obstacle. The determination and engagement of the Flint team is especially important considering the pressures facing the electric utility of the future, including ever-changing power supply needs, emerging technologies, advancing regulations, cyber threats, both near and far, and other potential issues which have yet to surface. While our industry does grow ever more complicated, I feel it is important to point out that our core business remains the same. It has to be healthy, with safety, reliability, and sound financials always remaining in focus. I understand what it takes to equip, develop, coach, and motivate a highly engaged team of employees. We owe it to our employees to have a strong safety and professional development program. We owe it to our members to have reliable service. Rate competitiveness is critical to the families and businesses that make up our membership. The quality of our service has never been more important. And under my leadership, you can rest assured that we will continue to review all aspects of the operations, always searching for opportunities to improve our service to you while keeping our cost as affordable as possible. Let me close by assuring you that I will do everything I can to keep this EMC an organization we can all be proud of and an electric cooperative that is focused on providing the highest quality of service to you, the members. Personally, I will work every day to exemplify what James Oglethorpe had in mind when he founded Georgia under the motto, not for self, but for others. Finally, I want to thank you for virtually attending today, and I look forward to seeing you all in person next October. Until then, if I can ever be of assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out. I will always make myself available to the members. I now ask Jeff Wainwright to provide the Corporate Secretary and Treasurer's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Flint's bylaws state that 1% of its members must be present in person, by proxy, or must have voted by mail ballot to constitute a quorum for a meeting of members. As of June 26, 2020, the total number of members of record was determined to be 73,366, thus requiring 734 members to be present or by proxy in voting by mail ballot. We have received 1,648 mail-in ballots. I therefore declare a quorum. As evidence of the value of the Flint places on members' participation in cooperative governance, as well as to meet requirements of law, I am pleased to cite proof of the publication and mailing of the official notice of this annual meeting. I have before me certifications from the U.S. Postal Service stating that the official notice of this annual meeting was mailed to 73,765 members of record. I will not read this notice since each member was mailed a copy. In addition, please be reminded that excerpts from the bylaws which pertain to the annual meeting and the election of directors and notice of the procedures for the nomination of directors was published and inserted in the April 2020 issue of Georgia Magazine and posted on Flint Energy's website. Thus, I declare that all the requirements with respect to prior notice of the annual meeting have been met. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and having to have this virtual meeting, the 2019 minutes of our last annual meeting held on Tuesday, October 15, 2019 were included in the annual meeting cover, wrap, and ballot and were approved by a vote of 1,557 members voting in favor and 16 voting against. I will now give my report as treasurer of the co-op. For the last year, the Flint board and staff have focused on working beyond the lines, while also building a financially sound organization. That work includes close attention to the building blocks of safety, members, employees, the electric system, finances, community communication, and innovation. Since April of 37, we have constructed a solid foundation to serve our 17 county service territory very well. Nowhere is the strength of our foundation for service more evident than it is in the financials. The operational performance and the steady growth of Flint EMC. Looking back at 2019, we added over 1,700 new services to our system. At the end of the year, Flint served 86,353 active meters, with a net utility plant valued at over $297 million and total assets of $381 million. That places us as the 8th largest co-op in Georgia and the 36th largest in the nation. Like all electric utilities, power costs dominate our physical picture. Last year, for every dollar paid on your power bill, 72 cents was used to pay power cost. Because of the financial stability of Flint, our efforts to adequately manage power expenses and aggressively manage controlled costs to come in under budget, we ended the year with a financial position better than we started. I am pleased to report that Flint remains financially sound. Our revenues and cash flow are adequate to meet mortgage requirements and pay regular debts. The Flint's financial position and intensive equity management planning have again enabled Flint to fulfill a key cooperative principle of retiring patronage capital. In July, the board approved capital retirement and distribution total $4.996 million for members of Flint lines in 1996, 97, 99, 98, and 70% of 99. This brings the total capital retired in the last 10 years to $38.8 million. As treasurer for Flint, I am particularly proud to say that your co-op has dealt with increasing power costs while also holding down operating expenses, meeting mortgage requirements, and continuing to return record levels of capital credit. I hope you share my pride in these accomplishments, and I hope you recognize the importance and value placed on long-term financial stability as a key part of the foundation that we stand on to serve you better. A copy of the financial statements and the 2019 annual report were mailed with the October edition of the Georgia Magazine. If you have any questions after reviewing the report, don't hesitate to call us. And thank you for your attention. I'll now turn the program over to Flint's General Counsel, Billy Gerald, to conduct the board elections.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. These are indeed challenging times, and it's unfortunate we're not able to meet in person. However, through the wisdom of the Flint members years ago, a decision was made to institute mail balloting, and who knew it would be a great election source in a time of a pandemic. Having stated that, go through what the bylaws provide for the elections that we have been able to have and can conduct here today. Flint's bylaws provide that the Board of Directors shall appoint a Credentials and Elections Committee at least 60 days before any annual meeting or any special cooperative meeting of the cooperative members. The committee must consist of no more than 11 members of the Flint EMC who are not nominating committee members or existing cooperative employees, agents, officers, directors, or known candidates for director. It's the committee's responsibility to establish or approve the manner of conducting member registration at the time of the meeting. Were we able to have it in any ballot or other voting, and to pass upon all questions that may arise with respect to registration of members in person or by proxy, to count all ballots or other votes cast in any election or in any other matter, and to rule upon the effect of any ballots or other vote irregularly or indecisively marked or cast, and to rule upon all other questions that may arise relating to member voting and election of directors. This year, the Credentials and Elections Committee is made up of the following individuals: Mr. Bill Gresham from Byron, Mr. Charles Harrison from Hawkinsville, Fabian Hollis Sr. from Roberta, Kevin Lipford from Perry, Mike McClendon from Oglethorpe, Conrad Nix from Warner Robins, Roger Sinyard from Malk, Phyllis Strange from Warner Robins, and Sheriff Jeff Watson from Butler. I'd like to take this time to thank them for their service again this year. Flint's bylaws also provide that the Board of Directors shall appoint a nominating committee at least 120 days before any meeting in which directors are elected. The nominating committee shall consist of not less than 5 nor more than 12 members who are elected so as to give equitable representation to the geographical areas that Flint serves. The nominating committee is required to meet and complete its nominations at least 60 days prior to the annual meeting and publish its list of director nominations. Alternately, the bylaws also provide that 1% of members may make other nominations in writing over their signatures not less than 60 days prior to the annual meeting. This year, no petitions for nomination were received. The bylaws provide that there'll be no nominations from the floor also. In order to facilitate the election, the bylaws provide that at least 14 days prior to any meeting in which directors will be elected, the members shall receive a printed ballot for director elections proposed bylaw changes, as well as for voting on any other agenda item, all of which you have received by mail. Each member shall be entitled to one vote upon each matter submitted to a vote, and each joint membership shall be entitled to one vote. Now, having stated all the formalities at this time, as elections coordinator and in light of this virtual annual meeting due to COVID-19, I'll give you a report from the nominating committee chairman, Mr. Jack Nash. The nominating committee met via conference call on June 23, 2020 to consider nominations for 2 expiring directorships. The following members were in attendance: Susan Binkley Hargrove from Butler, Ronnie Bennett from Kathleen, Tommy Ham from Montezuma, Joanne Hamlin from Lizella, Jack Lee from Fort Valley, Steve Williams from Warner Robins, and Jack Nash of Perry. At the June 23rd meeting, the following slate of nominees was named to be submitted to the membership, each for a 3-year term. For Area 2, Post 2 for Taylor, Schley, Harris, Marion, Muskogee, and Chattahoochee counties, Clarence J. Jackie Robinson Jr. was nominated. From Area 4, Post 2, Houston, Bibb, and Twiggs County, Neil Towton was nominated. There were no other nominations for those positions, and those nominations were listed in the April and October newsletters. Since these 2 directorships had no opposition, I therefore can decree that Jackie Robinson and Neil Towton are hereby elected to a 3-year term on the Flint EMC Board of Directors. For the purposes of the business meeting and the requirements to call for unfinished business, I offer the following. First, my records show that there is no business that was deferred or carried forward from prior meetings of the Flint members, and there is no unfinished business to be dealt with at this annual meeting. Secondly, due to this COVID-19 pandemic and the difficulties created to offer you, the members, an effective means to communicate at this annual meeting in a proper forum for valid motions, seconds, and a vote, new business at this meeting will be deferred until the next meeting of members of Flint. Any other meeting would be called pursuant to the Flint bylaws, or it will be at the next annual meeting of members. There being no further business to be considered, I do hereby adjourn the 2020 annual meeting of members of Flint Energies and turn this meeting over to Jenny Lacey to announce the grand prize winners.
We will now announce the 40 winners who will each receive a $100 credit on their Flint Energy's electric bill. These members were drawn from those who mailed in their ballots: William Lawson, Frank Riccigliano, Don Jackson, John Boer, Cranston Collier, Timothy Kirksey, James Monk, Benny Little, James Dewberry, Wilhelmina Sibley, Sharon Sullivan, M.M. Weaver Jr., Cheryl Okamoto, Fred Gilpin, Cleophas Tate, Donna Williams, Robert Rice, Claire Maddox, Mrs. Paul Knowles, Vance Streeter, Joe Ellen and David Gilbert, Joyce Wilder, Harvest Roberts, Steve Snow, Jackie Cleghorn, Perry Lee Smith, Jacqueline Newkirk, Jenny Mae Maines, Krista Redmond, Steve Daniel, Claude Andrew Rounds, Mary E. Johnson, Willis H. Brown, Roy Roberts, William Harper, Mary Gaines, Willie Lee Hamlin, Lewis Tatum, James McDowell, and Robert Kelly Jr. And now, the 2 winners of a $2,000 credit on their Flint Energy's electric bill are Adrian Hobbs and Deborah D. Williams. Congratulations to all of our winners, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. We appreciate our members and look forward to seeing you in 2021.